Hi, this is the Limitless Infinite, and I am Trinity 6, and I'm here to help you align your mind to higher vibrations and higher frequencies. This video is going to be about the flow of energy. So, I just wanted to make this video because this is my personal perspective on. I'm sure other people have said this too, but in my own personal journey, I've just come to the understanding of what this is, and I just wanted to share the information with you. So, I was thinking a lot of people, because I've just recently been doing this too. When I first started doing meditation, it was making this connection to this divine light or source energy. And it was always this idea of like connecting to source energy and then feeling like I was getting filled up. And then I'd carry that throughout the day and I'd have different interactions or experiences, or even just work, and I would become kind of depleted from that connection. And then basically you would be doing like this night meditation to kind of reconnect, and then you basically fall asleep and you wake up and you do it all over again. And so I then came into this understanding. I was like, whoa, it's kind of, I've actually been doing some reading and listening to Saint Germain's discourses, and I'm sure some of the information in there kind of like spurred this on. But it's the idea that we are connected to source energy all the time. So if you are alive and breathing, you are connected to source. There is never a time when you are not connected to source. And what this is sort of equivalent to is sort of like a lamp. And I like to think of this is a lamp connected to divine source, which is always on and always flowing. But if you think about your home, your house being connected to the electrical grid, and when you go to plug in a lamp, when you plug in the lamp, the electrical is always flowing, and it's just whether or not when you turn the switch at the lamp, it's basically allowing that energy that's already coming up the wire to then come into the bulb and turn it on. But when you plug in this lamp, it's not like the bulb has to slowly charge and become filled with light, and then you kind of turn off the switch and it holds and sustains the light, and then it slowly goes back down, and then you would come back in the room later, and then you would basically do it all over again. When you plug in the lamp and the lamp is on, it's just on all the time. There's never a time when that energy from the electrical grid is not flowing through the wires in that lamp. So if you think of yourself like this lamp, plugging into divine source, the flow is always coming through you. And so then it's whether or not you're realizing all you have to do is turn on the switch. So you don't fill up the bulb, and then you don't go back and put the bulb back in and fill it up. And so that'd be like equivalent to like you screwing the bulb into the lamp, charging it up, and then you leave, and then you come back and you're charging it up, which is definitely not what you do. You basically just turn on the lamp, and the lamp is in constant flow. So that's, I think, also what they talk about when they're talking about chi energy and chi energy flowing. It's really about understanding that you are a gateway, you are a conduit for this divine source energy. And as soon as you are self-realized in that fact, then you are connected to source. So there's no need for you to be, meditating, filling yourself up. And then when we do this, I think a lot of people have now been pre-programmed into thinking that you fill yourself up, you have your experiences throughout the day, you become lower energy. Obviously, everyone goes through their day and feels active and good, and then you start to slow down and feel more tired by the end of the day. But when you do that, then you feel like at night you have to fill back up again, or in the morning, if you're not doing night meditations, you fill back up again. And it puts you kind of in this perpetual state or this perpetual program that you're not really flowing the energy, you're filling yourself up with it, which really isn't the truth. When you're connected, you're connected. So when I recently have been doing my morning meditations, I just went through this whole phase not that long ago where I was like, oh, you know what? I just am like, I'm going to program myself with a new program. I'm going to activate within me all these codes for me to just open the gateway. I was like, every cell, every particle within my being, and at first it was like, I think I was saying is charged, is charged with this divine light, or is this divine source energy. But I was like, you know what? I can just program every cell to be an open gateway, and I'm going to open the door, and now this energy is going to flow through. And I literally said to myself, this energy is going to flow through me. There's never going to be a time when I'm without this energy. I'm just in constant flow of it. So it was like programming my mind to basically open this doorway in every one of my cells and every one of the particles of my being. And now my brain has correlated its knowing that the cells are just open and the light is always constantly flowing through. And so now what it is becoming self-aware throughout the day that this flow of energy is always happening. So instead of applying this idea that you fill yourself up and then you're giving or people are taking your energy throughout the day, and then you have to go into another state where you fill yourself up, when you're in flow and you ever get to a point where you feel tired or you feel like you're giving or someone feels like they're taking from you, all you have to do is recall and bring your awareness back to your conscious state of mind and say, I can't be feeling depleted. I'm not without because I'm in this constant flow. And if you just bring yourself awareness to the fact that you are just this open door and the light's just coming through, you can be giving or somebody can be taking your energy, and it shouldn't make you feel depleted at all because it is immediately renewed and restored because the energy just continuously flows. So it's not like somebody takes and then you have to walk around all day feeling like you're a little bit empty. It's just immediately replaced. So if you can reprogram yourself and then program yourself to just know that it's your self-awareness of that state of being this open channel or open conduit for this energy, then you can be more realized that you are never depleted, you are never without. And so this happens a lot when people are like I said, having these exchanges where somebody feels like they're taking, or nowadays you hear a lot of people like, oh, like people are being succubuses or energy vampires. So if you were in this state of mind and you had programmed yourself to understand that every part of your being, your physical, mental, emotional, that it's all in this constant state of flow, even if you were with someone that you thought was a energy vampire or succubus, they could just be taking, and you wouldn't even feel it because it would be immediately replaced. Now, I don't think it's a great idea to just let somebody keep taking or let some succubus suck all your energy out of you if that's what you're thinking. We want to be instilling in other people good habits. And if you're 5-dimensional thinking, you not just want to instill good habits, you want to help that energy vampire become connected to source on their own, so then that way they don't have to walk around sucking other people's energy up. And actually, I'll just make a quick reference because I just watched this video with Teal Swan and Rob Smart, but she actually had a video too where she was like, I don't think energy vampires take your energy. They basically just cut you off from source. So that is actually very aligned with what I'm saying now. Sorry, I just remembered that because I just watched their video like a little just a little bit earlier. But basically, she had drawn this thing, and she's like, they basically just, it's almost like they cut you off from your own divine source. So, and that's really the same idea, because it's not somebody taking what you have, it's somebody that's like able to shroud you from the fact that you have this connection. And then that way, you know, when they do that, that's when you start feeling without. And then that puts you in the same lower vibrational state that they're existing in, which is that you don't have enough. And then you will have to focus your attention on when will I have time to fill myself back up? But then it perpetuates this idea, the continuous idea that you have to fill yourself up. You have to keep filling yourself up because somebody's taking. So as soon as you can, if you're connecting to divine source energy, you want to curb this habit. And I literally just said to myself, you know, I am connected to divine source. I am this commanding presence that is now programming my body to be this open gateway, that every one of my cells is this open conduit for this divine source energy to just flow through me continuously. And it is always there throughout, you know, every moment of the day. I'm in constant flow. And I'll not just, because before I would say, even when I just kind of reminded myself, brought myself awareness in the morning that I was flowing through this energy, especially in the morning, because usually you're out of body at night and you're traveling in the astral realm. So your astral body is coming back into your physical form. And so it's kind of filling back up this physical body that you have. So I always like to do that in the morning, because then it reminds me that my light body is coming back into my physical body. It just kind of awakens myself. A lot of times you feel sore in the morning, and I was like, nope, it's not your physical body that's sore. It's just you trying to come back into your body. And so when it does that, you have that feeling of soreness and stiffness. So I usually just go through those steps in the morning. And then when I'm charging this body to be once again aligned with the fact that now that my light body or my astral body is back in my body, it's now this physical body is that open conduit again. When I do that, I'll expand my light. So sometimes I even just say to myself, I expand I'm the commanding presence that expands my light beyond my body. And I like to make it bigger than my physical body. I feel like sometimes your brain can be limiting like that, especially when you're coming back into your physical body in the morning when you're first waking up, when you're trying to just bring your self-awareness to the cells and say, hey cells, like I'm back in my body. So now you're channeling or you're being the conduit for this light energy. Basically, I want to at the same time expand the light out. And I like that because it makes me feel like my whole body's fully charged, that my whole body, like every cell, even on the surface of my skin, is now self-aware again that we are this conduit for this energy. And then that way it feels like the space around you is kind of charged up with this energy as well. But anyway, so I wrote here, divine source connection. This is the part that allows you to be the conduit for the energy, and the energy is constantly flowing. Divine source is never off. Divine source is always on. And then when you're trying to bring your self-awareness back throughout the day, because it will happen, like we're in old programs of the energy is something that we have, and then when we're tired and, we're at the end of the day, we have less energy, but that's kind of a misconception. That's old programming. Get rid of it. You can use this statement, which is one I've been doing a lot of reading from Saint Germain's discourses, but he had a great affirmation in one of his teachings that says, I am the commanding presence charging my body with electronic energy. And so don't read the statement wrong. It's not saying that when you say it, you in that moment are bringing in light and charging your body. It's your self-awareness is being brought back to the fact that you are already being a conduit for the light, and that light, you're reminding yourselves to say, hey, charge right now. So I just don't want people to feel confused, like charging up. It's like when you plug in your phone. No, you're already plugged in. So this is just a statement. And charging, to me, when I'm thinking about it, it's almost like I can feel the vibration of this energy. So if you wanted to have another way of thinking about this statement, it's a self-reminder that the light is flowing through you, and the charging is you feeling the vibration of this divine light frequency. And when you do that, when you say charging, and you can use whatever words you want, the most important part in the beginning is just, I am the commanding presence, or I am the mighty I am presence. That way you know that you are also this divine source, and you're just making a connection to yourself. But you could say, I'm the commanding presence that feels the vibration of this electronic energy, which I am. You could say that as well. Just know that within this statement, don't feel like that you are without and somehow now charging is. I think because I associate charging with a phone, like you would have to plug it in and it would charge up. But charging to me is about feeling the vibrational state of this energy, which is already been flowing through your body all day. So it's just the old programming that we have that kind of dismisses our awareness of it. And it's just our interactions. If you're busy, if you're at work, if you're interacting with other people, you just become distracted, and your consciousness gets pulled away from the fact that you're just constantly a generator for this energy that's being channeled through, not channeled, but that's coming through you. So, and then the other thing is when you're having experiences with other people throughout the day and exchanges with other people, when people are of lower vibrations, it is going to feel like, especially in the beginning, that people are still taking, that you are still giving. And part of that is because if you're a higher vibration, you're going to end up coming down in vibration. And so the way that you charge yourself back up to where you were is by self-awareness, bringing yourself back to the fact that this light is just flowing through you all the time. And you do that by saying this kind of statement or some kind of statement that you're feeling this vibrational quality of the electronic energy that you are. And that should help you kind of realign yourself to where you were if you were feeling depleted. But when we do this, it's when you have exchanges with people, sometimes like when you're hanging out with your friends, or a friend, you will find if you're really good friends with somebody, the reason you hang out is because you always have a good time. What that really means or signifies is that you and your friend have a very similar vibrational quality or frequency. So when you are having interactions or experiences with this person, you are reciprocating an energy exchange with them that doesn't leave you feeling depleted. So when you're having this kind of exchange, you are openly transmitting sort of this energy between the two of you. And when you get into a nice equilibrium, you're sort of resonating the energy, the combined energy of the both of you. And that's like when you're feeling like really elated, really happy. That's just like the two of your frequencies coming together. The vibration is similar, and thus it's having a better resonance. And so you're having an experience that resonates with the both of you that is very enjoyable. And so when you do that, you don't feel depleted. They don't feel like they're giving or taking, or vice versa. You guys feel like you're almost charging each other up. And you've probably experienced this when you hang out with people, and then at the end of hanging out, you still feel really good, and you might even feel more energetic than when you first met up with them. And so that's a great signifier, that you're interacting with somebody that's kind of on your same kind of vibration or frequency. So those are good relationships to kind of have with other people, or to have people that you have those relationships with, because then that's people that you're really resonating with. Usually when you're having experiences where you feel depleted, this is a signifier that this is a person that is a lower vibrational quality. Or I guess in some cases it could be that somebody else has a higher vibrational than you and you're taking from somebody else. But a lot of times we just signify these with when you feel like you're getting down on energy, you are having an interaction with somebody that's a lower vibrational state. And so you can just remember that you're this infinite, abundant energy source, and just remind yourself that when you feel like you're giving, or someone feels like they're taking from you, that the energy is immediately replaced. So bring yourself back to this awareness, because should never be a time when you feel without. Even if you're dealing with a lower vibrational person, like I said, you just remind yourself, you bring your self-awareness back, and then you'll bring yourself back into the normal state that you are, so you don't feel like you have less energy after the exchange. And every once in a while, or not every once in a while, but you do also have exchanges where you feel charged up. You've had an interaction with somebody, and at the end of the interaction, you feel quite charged. And this is a time, too, where you can kind of be self-aware of how is the other person feeling after your exchange. Because if you have an exchange with somebody and you realize that you feel really charged up, and then you see that person and they look like they're not, it means that you had an exchange where you were taking somebody else's energy, or they were just giving it to you and not realizing that. And the reason I say you want to be self-aware is because if you're working and trying to get into these 5D energies, you want to be able to cultivate relationships, like I said, that have this energy exchange that has this nice resonating quality to it, not one where even though you left feeling good, you might have left somebody feeling without. So it might do something in kind of changing your interactions with this person. Maybe you didn't realize that you were taking, or maybe you just didn't realize that they were giving you energy. And this is a great time to be able to teach other people how to get connected on their own to divine energy source, so that when you have future exchanges with them, you both can be reciprocating this energy exchange, and it can be resonating nicely so that you're having a positive experience. So a lot of that is about growth, about teaching, about wanting to share information, about wanting to help other people on their, get their frequencies up and higher vibrations, so that we can all be on this path of ascension into the fifth dimension. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. That was pretty much it. Just wanted to do this quick video about the statements that you can use, and understanding that you are never without, that it's a constant flow. It's like how they talk about chi energy, it just flows through you. And it's really about reprogramming your mind to know that all you have to do is bring your awareness back to the flow. So it's just like reminding yourself that your lamp is always on, and then that way you don't feel like you're without. Like I said, question, comments down below. Let me know what you think. Open up the discussion if you have anything to say. I welcome it, and I'll see you guys in my next video.